શુભ અને મંગલકારી દિવસ. ગુરુહરિ સ્વામી શ્રી હરિપ્રબોધમ પરિવાર તરફથી પૂજ્ય મોહન કાકા, પૂજ્ય રમેશભાઈ, સૌ ભક્તોના ઇન્વિટેશન, આમંત્રણને માન આપીને આપ સૌ પધાર્યા છો એ બદલ મોહન કાકા, રમેશભાઈ સૌ વતી આપ સૌનું હાર્દિક સ્વાગત કરીએ છીએ. સ્વામીજી એવું કહેતા કે ભારતની ધરતી એ ખૂબ પુણ્યશાળી ધરતી છે અને આપણે સૌ ભારતીય ખૂબ ભાગ્યશાળી છીએ. એટલા માટે કે એ ધરતી પર યુગે યુગે જ્યારે જરૂર પડી છે ત્યારે ભગવાન કે ભગવાનને રાખનાર એવા સાધુ એ ધરતી પર પધાર્યા છે. અને એ પધારવાનું કારણ એટલું જ છે કે ભારત દેશ એક એવો છે અને એ આત્માઓ એટલા પુણ્યશાળી છે કે આત્માઓની યાત્રા ભગવાન તરફ ચાલી શકે અને એ ભગવાનનું સુખ લઈ અને છેલ્લો જન્મ કરી શકે. એટલા માટે એ આત્મા ઉપર કૃપા કરી અને ભગવાન ભારતની ધરતીને પસંદ કરે છે. અને એ ધરતીના આપણે સૌ જ્યારે ધંધાર્થે કે આપણા વેલ સેટલમેન્ટ માટે જ્યારે આપણે એ દેશની ધરતીને છોડીને પરદેશમાં આવીએ છીએ ત્યારે પણ આપણા પર ભગવાનની ને સંતની કૃપા ઓછી નથી થઈ. એ કૃપા કાયમ બની રહે એટલા માટે એવા ભગવાનને રાખનાર એવા સાધુ, એવા સંત એ ફરી પાછા આપણને શોધતા શોધતા અને આપણને સુખી કરવા માટે વિદેશની ધરતી પર વિચરણ કરતા હોય છે. આજે આપણી વચ્ચે જે સ્વામીજી પધાર છે એ દેખાય આપણા જેવા જ છે પણ કમ્પ્લીટલી આપણાથી અલગ છે. આપણામાં ને એમનામાં ડિફરન્સ શું છે? તો આપણે જોઈએ છીએ આંખે કરીને તો આપણને આ લોકની લૌકિક વસ્તુઓ દેખાય છે. જ્યારે જુએ છે ત્યારે એમની સ્થિતિ જ્યાં જુએ ત્યાં રામજી જેવી, એમને બધાયમાં ભગવાનના દર્શન થાય છે. એમની વાણીમાંથી ભગવાન બોલે છે, એમનામાં રહીને ભગવાન કાર્ય કરે છે. એટલે એવું કહેવાય કે જેના આપમાં હરિનો વ્યાપ, સંત તે સ્વયં હરિ. એવું ભગવાન.
તો એવા પ્રબોધ સ્વામીજી પધારી રહ્યા છે. આપણે સૌ ભાગ્યશાળી છે કે આપણે આટલા ફેમિલી જેવી સભા લાગે છે કે બધા એક પરિવારના સભ્ય હોય એવી રીતે બધા બેઠા છે. તો આપણે સરસથી એમનો લાભ લેવો છે.
सहजानन्ददारक हरिपधाया अनन्तदेव आधार हरिपधाया अक्षर संग पुरुषोत्तम स्वयं पधार्या श्री स्वामी नारायण हरे पधार्या हरि पधार्या आज हरि पधार्या।
अंतर्यामी आवो स्वामी हे हरि तव स्वागतम।
अंतर्यामी आवो स्वामी हे हरि तव स्वागतम।
अनंत नाधार सहजानंद धारक स्वागतम।
अनंत नाधार सहजानंद धारक स्वागतम।
उमंग आजे निरख बकाजे हरि स्वामी जी पधारिया।
उमंग आजे निरख बकाजे हरि स्वामी जी पधारिया।
अक्षरधामी मूरत आजे मारे आंगण
Jai Swaminarayan, Jai Shri Krishna, good evening, Kia ora, and welcome. We're gathered here today for a very auspicious occasion. We have before us a very divine entity that has changed millions and millions of lives around the world. First of all, I want to acknowledge each and every single one of you who has spent your sunny Sunday in Auckland, which is very rare, but you've spent your Sunday to be here with us today. So on behalf of Hariprabodham Parivar, I would like to thank you for coming here to share this occasion with us all. I say this because in the current climate, we are all aware of what's happening around us, here in New Zealand or all around the world. We are faced with issues with climate. Very recently, we just had a cyclone, which had a lot of negative impact on the people of New Zealand. We are battling global wars. We are battling disease. And negativity these days, you don't have to look too far to find. So, what is Hariprabodham Parivar? Who is Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj? I'll give you a very brief introduction because we've got a long schedule to get through today. But His Divine Holiness, Param Pujya Hariprasad Swamiji Maharaj, was a divine entity that had so much love that he was able to transform thousands and thousands of youth's lives all around the world. Similarly, his number one devotee, his true devotee, from the very first day that Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj was initiated as a sadhu from Hariprasad Swamiji Maharaj, he has not left a single one of his virtues fall. He has not left any of his commands fall and has followed them strictly till today. To give you a brief idea of how intricate this sadhu is, from Hariprasad Swamiji's life, thousands of mementos, what we call prasadi, so where Swamiji would have used a towel, or he may have used some garlands, or anything small, Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj accumulated enough to make an entire museum. That is the amount of love that Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj had for his Guru, Param Pujya Hariprasad Swamiji Maharaj. So why Guru Bhakti Mahotsav? And why is Prabodh Swamiji here with us today? In today's day, the most important job, or the most hardest job, is to unite one another. I commend you all for taking your time to be here, to support this cause, because it shows that you are wanting to unite. We are a diverse country, one of the most multicultural countries in the world. We have so many beliefs, so many religions. However, love conquers the world. If we come together, we can break barriers that are dividing us. If we come together, we can face the challenges that we are going to face in the coming years. If we come together, we can put together a program, a plan, and work together for better progress and for a better future. I am very lucky to be sharing the stage with such a divine sadhu. Hariprasad Swamiji Maharaj was my first love. But from the first day in India, in December this year, I got the privilege to have his charan sparsh, where I got to touch his feet. And instantly, the love that I had for Hariprasad Swamiji Maharaj was felt within Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj. So, without further more ado, once again, I would like to welcome you all. But we also have some very important dignitaries here today. These dignitaries are people in society that will lead the way for a better future. Them being here today with such a busy schedule highlights their importance for community, and we really respect that. So first of all, I would like to ask in groups of 3 to come and garland Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj. I would like to ask Ward Kamo who is the regional chair for the National Party. I would also like to ask Chris Pink, who is the MP for Kaipara with the National Party. And I would like to ask Paul Goldsmith, who is the MP for Epsom for the National Party, who is unable to attend. But I would like to ask Mr. Kamo and Mr. Pink to please come on stage. I would like to now call upon Mr. Jeet Sachdev, who is the QSM and founder, chairperson of the Bharatiya Samaj New Zealand. Also, Simon Court, who is from the ACT Party. I would also like to ask Rahul Chopra, who is from the ACT Party. Mr. Dhansukh Bhai Lal, who is the president of Auckland Indian Association. And Harshad Bhai Patel, who is QSM and former president of the Auckland Indian Association.
Guru Hariprabodham Swamiji, I'm incredibly honoured and humbled to stand before you this evening. It is only appropriate, thank you, that I greet you in the first language of this country, and please bear with me as I do. Ka tūau hei māngai mō te tino whakaro o ngā tupuna kua heke atu ki te pō. Ta hariko ta ngākau I tēnei wā ki te tei I raro, I ta mana. O tō mana ki a mātou nei e ta rangatira tō unga. Me I mai, me I mai, me I mai. Ka me ki te whakaro o ngā tupuna kei te wahu koe me he maunga teitei ka tū kei mui a koe. Hei tama, I mua I ta maunga teitei. May I say, what an absolute pleasure it is to stand before you at this time. I will translate. My thoughts go back to the ancestors that first spoke in this place, on this land of ours. And one of the sayings that they used to say was, Kei toahu koe me he maunga teitei, if you should bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. I bow my head to a very lofty mountain today, your divine worship. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. But I also must greet you as a fellow traveller in faith. I am a devoted and a devout follower of the teachings of my divine Lord Jesus Christ. And it is with real humility that I get to stand before you, not only as a representative of the National Party, but also as a fellow traveller in faith before you all here today, the Yogi Divine Society of New Zealand. I thank you. It's only appropriate then that I make a small mention of some of the issues that you have spoken about earlier this evening, particularly around issues of law and order. And I want to say to you that it would be very easy for me to stand here and try and blame the other political party or whatever it is, but I don't believe that that is appropriate. I think what is far more appropriate to talk about today is the lack of spiritual guidelines that have been provided to our youth that are causing you and your families the trouble that you are facing. You have been a disproportionate victim of crime in this country, and it must change. But where it must change is in our homes. It is very easy for us to talk about, in the case of my Māori people, colonisation, and in the case of my Samoan side, because I have Māori Samoan children, to claim that it is something to do with racism in the country. I reject both. If I may say to you, your divine worship, I am the product of a Māori grandfather who spoke English as his second language, that came to this country from the Chatham Islands with my father in tow, that walked into this country during the Great Depression, who had no money when he arrived, who had lost his lands on the Chatham Islands, and if anybody could be claimed to be a victim of the past, it could have been my grandfather. He chose not to take that path because he was a man of faith and knew that with his attention to our divine Lord above, he would make good for himself and for his family. My grandfather, who was, I say, a second language speaker of English, had a laser-like focus on family values and on education as well, and he demanded that my father get an education, and he did. My father put the same expectation on me as his son that I would get an education. And as a result of that laser-like focus of my grandfather and my father, my family has done well, and we have no excuses to offer for anything that might go wrong in our life. But I want to emphasise that what has been the guideline for us as a family, the guiding tracks, has been our faith. And I want to turn my attention back to you, the followers of the divine, at this time, the Yogi Divine Society. This is not the first time I've stood in front of you to speak, and I made a plea to you the last time I was in front of you. Hold firm to your faith in this country, because it is not easy to do so. You are going to come under great pressure as you take your children through life here to adopt all the ways of this country, and I urge you not to do that other than the laws of it. I urge you to retain your faith. I urge you to retain the things that are important to you and to make sure you pass those on to your children as well, because these are the guardrails that I am assured will ensure that your children live great lives in this country as New Zealanders and as followers of your faith, and I applaud you for that. There is nothing more that I wish to say to you this evening other than once again to thank you for the absolute honour, the humble honour that I have to stand before you today, to acknowledge you, your divine worship, once more. As a fellow traveller in faith, it is very rare that I get to stand in a person of such holiness, and I thank you once again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamo. Mr. Kamo spoke about holding on to faith in this country is very difficult, and that is the work that Hariprabodham family do on a regular basis, is to ensure that our children and the next generation do not lose touch with our Hindu culture, and that are reminded of just how rich our culture is. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Kamo, and thank you for being here with us today. I would like to now ask Mr. Chris Pink, who is also from the National Party, and he is the MP for Kaipara. And while Chris Pink is coming up, we were actually going to have Mr. Christopher Luxon here with us today as well. Unfortunately, he has COVID. I understand he is recovering and he is well, but he sends his warm wishes to Prabhu Swamiji Maharaj and to all of us, and I'm sure we will see him at our next function. Mr. Pink.
Your Divine Holiness, thank you for the opportunity to be with you here today. It is an honour to share this stage with you, acknowledge you, the President, and all the members of the Yogi Divine Society of New Zealand. I wish to acknowledge and support the words of my colleague and friend Mr. Ward Kamo and his wife Agnes Lohine. I acknowledge too Melissa Lee, my parliamentary colleague, other members of the National Party in our Indo-Nats group, also our parliamentary colleague Simon Court and members of the ACT Party, and of course greetings from our leader of the National Party, Mr. Christopher Luxon. He was so looking forward to being here with you this evening. Unfortunately, as you've heard, because he has COVID-19, he is sadly unable to join us. But I know that these kinds of occasions are among the favourite that he has as he goes up and down New Zealand, connecting with New Zealanders of all societies, all communities, all faiths, and all ethnicities. It's hugely important as politicians that we understand the society that we seek to represent. You bring great diversity. The Indian community as a whole contributes so much to our wonderful country, and I want to thank you for that on his behalf. It occurs to me, ladies and gentlemen, that the values of non-violence, of compassion, of tolerance that His Divine Holiness and the Society put forward are ones that everyone can learn from in this country. Politicians can learn from these too. In our world, we think about competition. We don't think of violence in a physical way, but we of course have a contest of ideas. There is an election scheduled for this year, and so it is important for all New Zealanders to engage carefully and thoughtfully in the issues that will be raised this year. And I encourage you to have your say, whoever you might wish to support as a party and as candidates. Please participate in the election discussion, in the election campaign, and please exercise your right to vote as New Zealanders. Your right to vote is no less than that of any others, and I encourage you to use that. I think if the issues that face us as a society today are important in any way, they are the big three ones, particularly relevant in West Auckland, but also across the country. Law and order, as others have already mentioned. The importance of business, to be able to make your way in the world, support yourself, your family, your community in that way. And we also think of the importance of education, so that the next generation of young New Zealanders, including those who have arrived from overseas, places like India, can come here, provide so much, and the support that the Yogi Divine Society of New Zealand provides to people in that situation is inspiring, and I thank you for that as well. So the politicians will be discussing the solutions to these problems. So in the National Party, we say that a tougher stance is needed for law and order. We say that education is important and every child should be in school, and currently that's not the case. And we say that businesses should be supported to bring forward the values that they can bring to the community, employing people, dignity in work, self-reliance in these values. But also, while we can say that the community should know politics and engage in politics and elections, so too should politicians engage with the community. So I want to acknowledge the work that you do in each of those three areas. In law and order, in community safety, you bring people together. You have tolerance, you have compassion, you have collegiality. In the space of education, I know that you're committed to the next generation coming forward, and it's great to see so many young people here tonight. And so too in the business world. You are leading, you go forward, you do the things that you need to for your community. And so whatever the result of the election, whichever politicians you decide to support, know that the example you provide to the rest of the community, to all of New Zealand and your connections throughout the world are very valuable indeed. They are greatly valued. So on behalf of the National Party, I say again, thank you so much. It is an honour to be with you tonight. Thank you for the work you do in the community. Your Divine Holiness and everyone gathered here tonight. Good night and thank you.
मराठी में एक बहुत अच्छी कहावत है कि जब संत हमारे घर आते हैं उसी दिन हमारी दशहरा और दिवाली होती है. गुरु हरिप्रसाद स्वामी महाराज सेवरल टाइम्स, शायद 5 से 6 बार न्यूजीलैंड की धरातल पर आए हैं और हमारे न्यूजीलैंड को स्पिरिचुअल दिवाली और दशहरा अर्पण की है, उसी तरह गुरु पद ग्रहण करने के बाद गुरु हरि प्रबोध स्वामी जी फर्स्ट टाइम न्यूजीलैंड पर आ रहे हैं, तो आज हमारी दशहरा और दिवाली है। दशहरा का अवसर हमें भक्त का विजय दिन बताती है और दिवाली का अवसर हमारे अंतरतम में अंधकार दूर हो और ज्ञान का दीपक प्रज्वलित हो, उसका संदेश लाती है। और गुरु भी हमारे जीवन में यही करते हैं। 2 शब्दों का गुरु शब्द बना है, अंधकार में से जो प्रकाश में हमें ले जाए, हमारे अंधकार को जो उजाले में ले जाए, उसका नाम गुरु। और ऐसे गुरु हरि की आज हमें गोद दर्शन और आशीर्वाद प्राप्त हुए हैं। गुरु
We have guests here from all over the world, from India, Canada, USA, and even Germany. But someone who has flown here today to be with us and who would like to quickly acknowledge Prabodh Swamiji Maharaj is the MP for the ACT Party, who is Simon Court. So I'd like to call upon Simon to very briefly acknowledge Swami Shri. Jai Swaminarayan.
Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you very much, Prabodham Swamiji Maharaj, for coming here to New Zealand to share with us your vision of a future guided by not just, not just material things here on earth, but to be able to bring spirituality into our lives. I have personally benefited from learning about yoga and meditation as a young man, and now on my journey through life, from being a civil engineer to becoming a member of parliament, I found that being able to go back to a quiet place inside my body and mind is very, very helpful to help concentrate and to put the stress of daily life to one side. So I do want to say the ACT Party is very proud to support the work that you do and to support your religious freedom and your freedom to live a spiritual life, if that is your choice. In New Zealand, we have only small problems compared to other countries like Ukraine, which is at war. And it's very important that we focus on doing things that actually help our communities. What we have in New Zealand right now is a problem with drug and alcohol dependence, mental health problems, and many people who are suffering, they take out their anger or their addictions by committing crimes, particularly against people in the Indian community who have small businesses, and the ACT Party wants to put a stop to that. But we'd also like to acknowledge that people from the Indian community who've come to New Zealand over many years are not just business people, but also professionals, such as engineers and teachers and doctors, but also gurus and sadhus who can share with us your learning and your vision of a spiritual life. Thank you very much for coming here to New Zealand. I wish that our children can grow up in a safe society where they can meet their potential. And I would like to say, Jai Swaminarayan. Thank you, Guru.
Thank you, Simon. It was Swamiji's wish that I translate in English very briefly what Swamiji just spoke about. Swamiji was speaking about transforming a youth. His Divine Holiness Hariprabodham Swamiji Maharaj, his whole life, gave away his health, traveled the world for millions and millions of miles, just to uplift the youth. He spoke about an individual who had a tobacco addiction. And when asked, do you know tobacco is bad for you? He said, yes, I do. He said, how much tobacco are you consuming on a daily basis? He said around 30 packets a day. So he knew this was bad. He knew it was bad for his health. He knew it wasn't doing himself and his family any good. But Swamiji speaking about to transform a youth, you need a God-realized saint in your life. You need the involvement of community leaders to transform and give you that extra little bit of strength that you may not find on your own. Yogi Divine Society and Hariprabodham family every week has an assembly every Friday where 350 of the Bhaktos come together. We sing devotional hymns. We listen to spiritual and positive talks from saints and other youth. And we engage in positive activity via sports, creativity, the arts, also give back to the community in ways of blood donation camps, food relief camps, mental health camps, and medical camps as well. So, in a nutshell, Swamiji's putting the importance on, regardless of your faith, regardless of where you come from, it is important to have a mentor in your life. It is important to have someone like Prabhupada Swamiji Maharaj in our life who can transform us. We may know what is good and bad. We may know which path is right or wrong. But who is going to give us that strength? Who is going to give us that willpower to walk along those lines? So that is what Swamiji wanted me to translate to you all. So it is my open invitation to everyone who is here today that Hariprabodham family, we have so many activities on a weekly basis, and also dedicated activities for the youth, whether it be sporting, the arts, or anything in the medical field or the learning field. And if you want to take part and you want to be involved, please reach out to one of our volunteers, and please do give us your details, and we would love for you to be a part of our family. Jai Swaminarayan.
So I want to thank sincerely the PRO team, sound system, decoration, and the sisters who have made lovely prasad, and all the background sevaks who have done so much seva for the last 2 or 3 weeks to make this a successful event, and more importantly, to have you with us this evening to grace this occasion. Thank you so much. Jai Swaminarayan.
Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, thank you. Prabhu Swami, Tamne thank you, thank you, thank you. Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, thank you. Prabhu Swami, Tamne thank you, thank you, thank you. Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, thank you. Prabhu Swami, Tamne thank you. Thank you, Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, Prabhu Swami, Tamne thank you, thank you, Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, Prabhu Swami, Tamne thank you. Thank you, Guru Hari, Tamne thank you, thank you, Prabhu Swami.
Thank you.